ऑन रखने की जरूरत है ना,
वहाँ से आपने कर दिया ना। हाँ, एक बार चेक कर लेते हैं।
My name is Smoky. I is Smoky.
Hi Ayush.
See how they
Okay, मुझे सुना रहे थे आप लोगों को सुना रहे थे क्योंकि मैं नहीं कर सकती कुछ फेस पर। आपने नहीं किया? चलो। बहुत सही टाइम पे बंद हुआ है।
I am a Bhavishya, an AI engineer at College.
कैमरा, कम से कम कैमरा फोकस कर।
Right now, I am leading their sales inbound and outbound automation processes.
Interesting. Sales. Next.
Hello everyone. I am basically in Hyderabad sales. Basically,
मुझे मत समझाओ, मैं बार-बार बोल रही हूँ मैं नहीं हूँ इंजीनियर। ना मैं इंजीनियर हूँ ना सेल्स में। मैं अपनी पेंटिंग सेल करती हूँ यार।
Hi everyone, myself Vivek and I was married to a very sweet and currently
कोई फेमस नाम सुनाइए, सॉरी, ये जानती हूँ मैं।
and currently I am looking for a new growth and every time is hiring so.
पर ये तो पता ही नहीं चला क्या करते हो, किसी को सुनाइए। आपने सुना ना? हायर करने वाला ने क्या सुना?
I was average developer at Swiggy.
ओके, ओके, ठीक है, किसी को चाहिए तो प्लीज। नेक्स्ट, टच इट। ऐसे कोई अच्छे से।
Hello, my name is Qubits and I was a software engineer at Generative AI. We work to optimize AI models.
Yeah. So, big. Yes.
Hi everyone, good morning. Myself Naveen Kumar. I am working as an data architect at Qubits.
अच्छा, yeah. पहले रिजेक्ट कर दिया भाई साहब, इतनी रिजेक्शन आज कैसे है? वो नाइस।
I'm a full stack developer at AI at Google. Google is Google and employed leading projects and scaling my projects on a daily basis. If you are looking for a full stack developer at AI engineer, and you can show
हाँ जी, ठीक है, ओके, let's go.
Okay, I think we are good to start. So it's quite late. I won't take much time, right? So what take? Good morning. And thanks a lot everyone for coming. I know, especially on Sunday morning, it's such a hot summer and not easy. But thanks to all of you. So similar to the other events also, we had approximately 40 plus registration, right? Now 50 actually. So we were expecting maybe at least 40 will turn up. That's okay. But a quick, before we jump into the first section, a quick intro about myself. Some of you may know me, but for others who are new, so I am citizen of this Gurgaon. So we do these events every quarter, and every quarter has a different theme. So this is our second quarter. The theme is the AI. Right? And the first quarter is on the industry, the third quarter is on the process side of it, and the fourth quarter is on the product. Right? And we always keep looking for value as well as for speakers. Right? Thanks to Associate Director Google and team for sponsoring the venue space, and they are going to sponsor a tea, coffee, lunch with us everything. So thanks to them. Right?
Breakfast आ रहा है, don't judge.
Breakfast is coming. Right? So that's what it is. And the reason for it is we don't want to go, we can prepare a hotel and other area also, but obviously there is some cost involved. Right? And then people have to pay for it. So that's an unnecessary burden for them. We do it in ways like this, but we don't want to make it completely free. So you must have paid between 100 to 100 rupees for it. Right? And then don't worry, that is not going into my pocket, that will still be going to the charity. Right? Whatever we get to the other people donate to the charity. And that's why we keep it as an PXU. So I think that's good. So this I will hand on to Venkat, and I'm not going to introduce any speaker. So they will take one introduction, and then we will start. Time we will be closing around by 1. Right? Just maybe 1 or 2 things I would like to have just from my side. I know it is not necessary that you agree to what speakers are saying, which is completely fine. Nothing wrong with it. Right? But in case if you have some objection, you have some different opinion, it's better to have a discussion maybe during the break or during the lunch. Right? That would be better rather than doing cross questioning here and there. And there is not being so good for other parts. And that's the only thing. Be respectful, right? Connect with everyone, and thanks to Shani for starting that. Right? And we are going to start our first session with the breakfast is there, but we will take maybe another 10 minutes break after the first session. So with this,
so good morning everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. And today we are going to have a discussion. More talk on slides and stuff. But it's more a discussion about peak technology. Okay, so how many people here have heard about quantum computing? How many people have heard about AI? And semiconductors, cyber security. So, see, in the past, let's say 3-4 years, some of these technologies have become very prevalent. So they become very prevalent. And things like AI today, is anybody here afraid of AI? No one is afraid. So you should never be afraid. Oh, you are afraid. So we'll come to that. Okay, so we need everyone to be using these technologies as tools. That's what we want. And this workshop here is about how to use these technologies as tools for you to move forward. Okay. So I work a lot with some states these days, and in Andhra, they were telling me in the 90s. The government's goal was that every family should have one engineer. We are close to that in our country now, almost every family having engineers. And now they are saying in the 2020s, their goal is every family should have one entrepreneur. Somebody who is creating technology, somebody who is creating jobs, somebody who's making things which other people can learn. So, I don't know how far that's going to be successful, but I already see a lot of young people today are into building technologies, are into building startups. And they're already, is anybody here thinking of doing a startup? Okay, that's nice. So that's about 5% of this room, and that's about what the answer we get across the country. Okay, so typically in rooms of whatever size, about 5% people say that okay, I'm thinking of doing a startup, and many people already have the know-how, but they don't know how to transform that into technology. So with that, I'll start some things. So, you all know about computers today, and you all know that these are binary computers. You know what is binary? Huh? Yes, 1s and zeros. Now there is a new kind of computer called the quantum computer. And this quantum computer is no longer an extension of this binary computer. So for the first time in the history of computing, computing has branched into two types of computers. One, binary, zeros and ones. And the second type does what? Everybody know what this second type of quantum computer, what it does?
Yeah, it can both values can exist at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. So this new computer is not limited to zeros and ones. It can take on multiple values. So I've given some things here. For now, just understand that there is a binary computer and there is a quantum, which is the person there said
Both values can
it
exist
can
at the
take
same time.
multiple values and also it can do something very special. Qubits can never share information, but a qubit can share information. Okay. So, you all know Einstein? Einstein said that these are properties, what he just said, that it can have multiple states simultaneously, it can share information. All of that is called quantum mechanics. Have you heard quantum mechanics? So physics class, chemistry class, Heisenberg uncertainty principle, almost it's 11th, you might have read it. But anyway, this new computer has multiple states. And what can it do with these multiple states? So you all know caffeine, it's there in coffee. If you wanted to model the caffeine molecule for a single fraction of a second, one fraction of a second, where are the electrons? So this is the chemical formula of caffeine. If you wanted to model where are the electrons, where are the neutrons, where are the atoms, all of that for one fraction of a second, you would need a computer with 10 to the power 48 bits, which is 1/10 the number of atoms on Earth. Does a computer that big exist? No. There is no supercomputer in the world. You put all the computers in the world together, it will still reach, it will never reach that much. Because that's very, very big. So, to model a simple thing like a molecule, you need this many. And on a quantum computer, all you need are 160 bits. And why is this important? How are medicines made? Disease in one test tube. In the other test tube, what you did? Molecule, medicine. Then you pour. You see what comes out of that. If it is working, then what do? You take it to mouse, then you take it to monkey, then you take it to dog, finally you take it to apes for human testing. And this process can fail at any point. So this whole process of making medicine takes how many years? 5 to 10 years. 5 to 10 years because first you take disease, then you try out of all the molecules in the world, you try which one will work. You try one by one, all of them. Those that work, then you go and take it to mice, monkey, human, all of these. It can fail at any point. How does it fail? Medicine can work, but it might have too many side effects. You've heard of side effects, right? Every medicine has side effects, but if it has very bad side effects, then you throw it away. Okay. So, these kind of processes using a quantum computer, because, like we said, it's no longer zeros and ones. It goes beyond 0 and 1, so it can model things like medicines. So, in the next few years, you won't need this for test loop, manual testing, all of these things. You will be able to do it just on a computer. Does anybody know how the internet, your cyber security works? When you go to your bank account, is it possible for you to take your password from there? Why? Why is it not possible? Huh? It is encrypted. Yes. So, does anyone know what is encryption?
Hash
So,
converting hash value.
hash.
Convert the password in hash.
Yes. Non-readable form. So, today how it happens is, you know prime numbers?
Yes.
What are the prime factors of 15? 3 into 5. Prime factors of 49? 7 into 7. Prime factor of 3, 2, 1, 6, 9, 2, 8, 5, a very large number. For a 2048 bit integer, it takes 8 billion years on a supercomputer. And hence, what do we do today? Our keys are large prime numbers. You take your prime number, I take my prime number, we multiply and use that as the key. So when you go to your banking site, the website creates one key for you, you create one key for yourself, you multiply that number, it's a large prime number. And that number is what is used as the encryption key. But quantum computers will break that. So what are you going to do about it? You will come up with new techniques. In fact, people have already come up with new techniques. But in the next 5 years, everything, your Wi-Fi router, your WhatsApp, all the web browsing websites, everything needs to be changed. Everything. Which means that lots and lots of cyber security experts are needed who can go and help banks, help Wi-Fi companies, help email providers, everyone to change from today's encryption to the new encryption. Is anyone working in cyber security? Okay, that's a very good area to work in because everything has to change in the next 5 years. 3 days back, the President of the United States signed the executive order saying that all US government, companies, all of them have to move to what is called quantum safe in the next 5 to 10 years. So all of you have that great opportunity to see how you can learn quantum safe encryption, cryptography, and move to these positions because in India, I know there are thousands of jobs right now for cybersecurity experts who will take existing encryption like SHA, RSA, all of those, and move it to quantum safety. Okay, all of you know AI. What is AI? Somebody explain what is AI.
You have a total, you start a query, the model has a encoder, and then it has a decoder. The encoder already knows quite a lot of information.
Okay, you're making it too complex. Okay, let us go simpler. First, what is intelligence?
Ability human being.
Ability to learn, yes. Yes, exactly. So let's take the example when you were babies. Mother would have shown you the how many cats you have to see before you learn cat. One. Yeah, she was a smart one. Maybe I needed two. So you don't even need that. Right? Exactly. So human intelligence, you need how many cats? 1, 2, 3, or just a picture, as one said, right? Anybody here working here, you were giving this. How many cats does AI need to learn? Thousands. Yeah. So AI needs thousands. You need one, AI needs thousands. And so, what is so anybody here who doesn't use ChatGPT or anything? Somebody doesn't? We have to see why you don't. Maybe you want to tell us.
Actually, I use less, but I
Okay. You use some AI.
Yes,
Okay.
some.
Anybody who doesn't use AI. So it's great. I mean, we all use AI. But because of this cat problem, every time an AI agent comes up, on this side, a power station comes. Because the GPUs need lots and lots of power, and why do they need power? Because of what we said. Instead of 2 rotis and 1 cat, thousands of GPUs learning from thousands of cat examples, and then even after that, in a cat-shaped cake, the bacha will say, "Mama, ये तो बिल्ली नहीं है, cake है." But AI sometimes will say, "Call the cake also cat." So why is that? Why is the problem? Why is that? I mean, why is AI taking so many examples? Yeah. So, and why is it not natural? Emotional intelligence. Yeah, so it's because you have taken the cat and converted it into a string of zeros and ones. To your brain, it's not zeros and ones. It's taking the full analog information, storing it, and that inferencing is much faster. But once you have reduced your cat to a string of zeros and ones and stored it and built a model on top of it, and then all those okay, now you should give your answer. How do you build an AI model? Yes.
And player has all the information of the cats and all the picture work, and then you feed into the encoder, which is what you start with, and it tries to pick and find whatever it is.
Exactly. So there is a storage of the cat pictures, and there is a model you build on top of it. You also build a model. Then you do a new cat or a chair comes to inferencing. See, is it Billy or chair? So that inferencing is very complicated. Why? The 0 and 1 representation, which your brain is not doing like that. And that's where the quantum computer makes because of what he said. It's no longer zeros and ones, but it's everything, zeros, ones, and everything in between, and all those states are possible. So the quantum computer maybe not one, but not 10,000 also. Much closer to the human way of processing. Okay. But in all of this, there is a great opportunity for each one of you because the world is changing. It's changing. AI is there, quantum is there, cybersecurity is there, semiconductors. All these are new technologies which enable you young people to now think in a new way. You don't have to solve the cat problem as you were solving. You can think of new ways with those transformer models and all those. Figure out how do you, and this is just the tip of the iceberg because the way AI is structured today is not sustainable. You cannot keep every tech company today is going and buying a nuclear power station. It's not going to work like that. Today, Andhra government, I don't know if you know, they're building the largest data center, Google data center in the world. But they don't have the capacity to take on more. More companies want to come there, but they don't have the power. They don't have the water. And the reason is very simple. It's the cat problem. You need better models to represent your data, and you need to solve those. And that is why, the AI problem is just begun. I mean, if anybody thinks that AI is solved, no, it's not solved. It's just the beginning. This is where each one of you can come in and create solutions and new methods. And even, for example, now India is known as the largest young population, right? So AI gives you this opportunity to now work in Korea, Japan, because AI takes away that language barrier now. You don't need any of. So what you must now start is to think big, think global, in terms of problems. I asked you this question about how many want to do startups. I'll give you a short history lesson. Okay. So 600, 700 years back, India was Sony Picture, right? That's what it was called. In the late 1400s, there were many startups in Europe. You know what these startups were about? Going and finding India. I will go and find India for you. Please give me 3 ships, 500 gold coins, 300 silver coins, and I will go and find India. And 2 people did. One went the wrong way and found America. The other guy came there and he found India. But that finding, at that time, India was the richest country. The whole world's economy, 1/3, 1/4, I don't know how many big percentage of the world economy was India. Then, of course, things happened, and in 1947, what were we? The poorest country. The poorest. So now what happened? Average, but also the most talented. We are the most talented country in the world because you see all the CEOs everywhere. Of course, they aren't working for India, but they are Indians. Okay, we make that talent and send them there. Okay. But now, you people, what happened in those 500 years? One thing that happened was, we all, from innovators, we became job seekers. We became people who were searching for jobs. We are little jobs. Don't know what I can do. You give me a job. In that, digital transformation hit us back. And that's why, this 5% has to become 50%. Not everyone has to startup founders, but we need people. So, ChatGPT is the founder. Now, how much has Sam Altman studied? Huh? Yeah, what? Yeah, of course. Yes, so he started up the third year in his MBA. That's what he did. Okay. So, the reason I'm telling you that is it's not how much you studied or did I do a PhD, did I do this. It's about what do I think I can build? What do I think I can go and solve? There's our problems, traffic, pollution, I don't know what all. If we just set out to solve those problems, I don't think we'll be searching for jobs now. We'll be just doing things. Yeah, but see, this is 1950s, okay? This is how computers used to be. They used to fill big rooms. And of course, now what are computers? Computers are just this. That's a computer, much more powerful than that computer. And this is today's quantum computer. It also fills a room. Okay. And this is where, again, there is an opportunity to build new things, to build technology, because this will also shrink. It will also one day be this. Now the question is, who's going to do that? That's the question. So does anyone know here which country has the maximum number of quantum talent? Those who think it's US. China. Okay. Anybody who thinks it's Germany, Japan, US, India? How much time I have, but anyway, the country is India. If you look at the maximum users of quantum computers today, it's in India. In January, there was a course on quantum computing, 2 lakh students. I mean, 2 lakh. No other country can even think of 5,000 students. We had 10,000, 2 lakh students registered for that. Okay. And this, of course, European Union, I don't know how many countries that is, 30, something like that. Okay. As a single country, India, this is old, 2020 data. Right now, it's much bigger. So India is where the talent is. Okay. Now, the question is, what do you do with that talent? In state is also a question. Okay. So for that reason, there is a national quantum mission now. Okay. Where the government is funding young people like you to do startups. It's also funding research institutions like IITs and all of that to build technology. But I think the most exciting thing is the startups. Okay. So there is a rolling call. You can submit any time their money. And they give you feedback, they give you things. But I think the whole point is that if you have the idea, today India is no longer that poor country. We are average, yes, average. So we have the money today, among the top 5 economies in the world. So young people like you have some ideas. This is the time to come out with those ideas and let's build things. Be problem solvers. Build things, then you don't have to carry your resume with you. People will come to you with their resumes. That's what they do. So, for all of this, so I thought India is where the talent is, and what is the National Quantum Mission's goal? Is that, does anyone know when internet was, when was internet was PC? When did PC first come out? Personal computers. Well before you were born, of course. So, but still, PCs came in the 70s. Big computers came in the 50s, but PCs came in the 70s. You know who took the PC from the lab and brought it to everyone? No, that happened, that's fine. But worldwide, people did not buy a PC. There was a time PC is not so much. Many of them PCs. Until one person did something. Bill Gates. So Bill Gates created the operating system, which made PC so easy. They use the internet company, 83 years old, she uses it. Everyone can use it now. But there was a time when PC only big scientists would use it. Until Bill Gates came and said, I'm going to change this and I'll make PC usable by everyone. 1983, internet came. Who made internet usable? Huh? So, one is Netscape. Netscape was born and it died also. But what did Netscape create?
The
Browser. Yes. So before Netscape, without the browser, how do you go to websites? Can you tell me? Without a browser, can you go? And there was a second company. Google. Before that, I would call it up. The website that is the you tell www.co and then, but after Google, just type it and it comes. It took about 15-16 years. Before that, you would buy a PC because Bill Gates had created this beautiful operating system and all those things. But you said, hey, internet se kya karunga? I'll save some money. I'm not buying it. I'll just play games on my computer. And that completely changed after Netscape and Google. Because then those two companies showed that without internet there is nothing you can do. Same with AI. Who made AI useful? Huh? Yeah, ChatGPT. Before ChatGPT, where was AI? In the lab, nobody was caring about it. Some moves on it. But after that, everybody in the world now uses it. And it will be the same with quantum one day. And why the National Quantum Mission? It is so that Microsoft, that Google, that OpenAI should this man be from India. It has to be one of you that creates it. That's the reason. That's why there is a National Quantum Mission. That's why government is giving you money and saying, ले दो, पैसे ले दो, हम पैसे लेके बैठे, आइडिया लेके आओ, पैसे लेके जाओ. So that's how it is now. And I told you, where is the talent? It's in India. And it will be a big shame if we have all the talent, but we don't have the technology. Today, 25% of the apps on mobile are used by Indians. Do you know how much of that revenue comes to India? Yes. 2%. We use 25%, but we get only 2%. This mobile phone, 5 countries control the supply chain. Which are those?
China, Taiwan, here.
China, Taiwan, Japan, US, South Korea. But builds all everything in here, all the design, all the software, all the hardware designs. It's the invisible units. आपको but नहीं. We're building everything here. We don't control it because those companies are not ours. And that's what we have to change. Okay. So please keep in touch. Yeah. So please keep in touch. We really want each one of you to get to your full potential and build things. Okay, that's what we want. And we help in whatever way we can. We'll try our best to help. Okay. Thanks a lot. Yeah, so I used to be the head of IBM Quantum India in October last year. And then I decided that we now need to make in India. So I now do some startups in quantum, and I also help new startups to come up, okay? Because we want you. I mean, because unless we are all builders, we are not going to get to this. We'll always be invisible. So we have to come to the front now. And that's what I do. That's why I then.
Thanks, Venkat. And I think there are two things which I discussed already in one of the sessions I heard. The first is about this going back to the quantum part. So I think we miss the internet first, we miss the semiconductor also, but we don't want to miss the quantum. So that's what government is looking at, and that's why there is so much push on it. Let's see how it goes. And there was another quote he used in one of the talk that what was it? God doesn't play the dice.
Oh, that was Einstein.
Einstein, right?
Yeah, so when Einstein was a non-believer in quantum mechanics. So he would use words like God does not play dice with the universe because this, like he said, things can be in multiple states. But in this, in our this room, for example, I throw my phone. If I throw it in this direction, I know where it will land based on the energy and force which I apply. If I throw it like this, it will go there. But I keep shrinking this phone, to molecular level. Then I throw it, like he said, you fill the whole room. This phone will not be. Whether I throw it like this or wherever, it will be everywhere. Until I actually observe it. And that phenomena is quantum mechanics. And that's what Einstein said, "Arey, God does not play dice with the universe. God is very strict." Okay, but over the years, many new Nobel Prizes have gone for just disproving what Einstein said. But of course, Einstein raised some very important questions which people have been answering for the last 100 plus years.
Okay, we are moving to the next session. So we'll discuss your and
Hello, guys. Hello. Very difficult to, top up the speech that Sir just gave all of us. I will just try to keep it in a different aspect in the side of AI that we use in our day-to-day lives, the practical aspect of it. Before that, I just want to understand from all of you, how many of you here have shipped something in AI or built something in AI which probably you are using on a day-to-day life or it has hit production in some format. How many of you have built something? That's nice. 2, 4 people. Very nice. And how many of you have struggled during that journey? Was it a clean, smooth, build, and then you were able to not go and change anything around it? How was your experience, guys? Yeah. So that's what I will try to cover today. There are a lot of aspects through which we are able to build AI solutions today. But there are a lot of guardrails that we need to keep in mind so that we use AI in a way that helps us but doesn't, break or help, break the solutions that we want to build. So hi guys, a quick introduction. My name is Ridhava. I have been in the space of business intelligence for close to 10 years now. Currently, I am the director of BI at Qubits, and I'm also heading or I have a startup where I try to teach practical AI solutions to all the analysts that are around. It's called the AI Brain. And prior to that, I was working with Flipkart, Pharmacy, Amazon, and a lot of companies, New Sigma. And yeah, today I will talk about the case where we move beyond the chatbot of AI, beyond ChatGPT, beyond Claude, and have solutions or agents that impact revenue in some form or the other. So the first aspect that I was talking about, right? There are a lot of use cases in AI today that we are trying to implement which are just for the fluff of it. It just showcases the fancy aspect of it. And people and the companies are burning a lot of money without actually affecting the P&L, right? This is something that probably is not sustainable, it's not helping the companies. There are a lot of layoffs happening where they feel that AI is going to replace human beings, but then they figure it out, it's too costly and they're just losing money. So how do we ensure that we are in a situation that AI is not just an expensive trick, but it is also something that we can use to add value in all of our lives? Which is why I will want to talk about 3 agents that we had built this year, which have helped us, solve few aspects of the industry that we are working for. I work in the hospitality industry, so the first use case that we had used for was calls QA scorer, right? So as you must be knowing, a lot of calls and sales happens outbound and inbound in these call centers, right? Where agents are directly talking to customers to try to convince them in terms of the discounts that they can get, in terms of the quality of the rooms, in terms of the availability. How do we ensure that the right set of aspects and parameters are followed by these agents to be able to, efficiently close a sale? That's why we built something called a call QA scorer. The issue that we were facing was only 2% of all the sales calls that were happening were manually being listened to by all the team leads and all the people who wanted to train the sales assistants. But we were extrapolating that to figure it out that hey, if 2% of my agents are making these mistakes, probably everybody is, right? Which is not true. So that's how we use the aspect of transcription of all the calls that we have, a logical scoring in terms of what were the misses and what were the fixes that we can build around these, and net we were able to move conversion by around more than 3%, which is a lot because we were already operating at a very high conversion benchmark because it was a human interaction. Another movement of 3% helped us close better revenue. But the problem that we basically faced here was a lot of false positives, right? We were doing the call recording, we were doing the transcription, we were doing the structure scoring, everything everything looked good on demo, on paper, everything looked amazing, right? But the problem that we basically saw was statement like, I can't promise you the rate today, which is obviously a very honest kind of a statement made by the agent, was also being tagged as a negative, false positive kind of a language that these agents are using. So it required a lot of manual QC to be able to understand that how we can use this rubric in a scalable method, because demos are always fancy. Everybody gets, very interested in a demo, but if we are able to use it at a cost efficient way, we need to have a human in the loop to understand that these rubrics are right. So please, the lesson that I got from this use case is that our prompts are like a policy document. It is not that there are just vague guidelines that we pass on to AI and we are able to extract the right kind of output, because of course these are mattering or impacting a lot of lives, right, in terms of their quality, in terms of their growth. So please, whenever you are trying to train an AI, have your prompt as a Bible and keep visiting that from time to time to handle all the use cases that are possible, right? If we don't have any more questions on this particular use case, I would want to talk about the pricing agent, which is on another use case that I'm very proud of. If you must be knowing that we, in an industry like hospitality, right, seasonality, what the market conditions are, what is happening in the Middle East, what is happening around your neighborhood, affects pricing a lot. That is something that you see in flights also, but also in hotels, right? We have to have dynamic pricing in place, which is why we had a huge team of people who were manually setting the prices, talking to the owners, trying to figure out what is the right benchmark for us to be able to sell in the most efficient way. So here is where AI also helped us give an intelligence around real time in terms of what is the market conditions, what are your competitors pricing currently at, what are the situations in terms of your own occupancy. Are you doing better? Are you overpriced? Right? So this is another use case where we were able to use real-time solutions in terms of scraping all the OTAs or like Make My Trip, Go and all the competitors that we have, and come to a solution where we have the prices set every day, and not just like that. Obviously, somebody was there still to approve the prices because we couldn't completely rely on AI for that, but it absolutely streamlined a huge, piece of the cake where we had a lightweight model, suggested different kind of adjustments, and we had a human in it. Again, the issue that broke after the demo was something called the scraper drift, right? If you guys have tried a web scraping activity in the past, you would know that a lot of companies change the structure of how they have their front end, right? So a lot of the codes of the scrapers that you have probably written will break in real time. And AI will probably assume stale data, or it will have no intelligence to be able to give those predictions. And this was happening quite often, right? One scraper or the other was always winning. So this is where we struggled in terms of identifying wherever we are having bad data and trying to stop that at the source. We in fact used another layer of AI here to look at anomalies, look at trends where we are not able to get coherent scraper outputs, and that's how we fixed it in terms of just manually not giving out suggestions on a day where your output has probably broken. Right? So this is another use case where we used a pricing agent where a team of 60 people manually setting prices, going through all the websites was optimized in a way that they were doing productive work of talking to owners who ensuring sentence better and just not doing pricing. Talking about the The third use case, right? I don't know how many of you are from analytics, but it's such a pain point that we face where there are curious stakeholders across the board who want to just bombard your day again with hey, another quick question and what will you, some random cut by city or some random cut by dates, which probably they're not even use, right? So the third use case that we used an AI agent was for creating a chatbot, which was just a natural language to an SQL query output, where whatever questions the stakeholders had in terms of curiosity, the agent will go query on our database and give out the solutions. So this was the bottleneck that we were trying to get over, where the agent was trained on our own company data. It was a one-time setup where all the basic details, all the context, once we are able to set it up, a real-time solution was made where they can directly interact with it. Like you see, any questions that could come on Slack, the bot was writing the answers, it was querying on my warehouse, and the answer that we were getting was coming out as a response to, of course, memory. So it is similar to what ChatGPT would do, but something which is trained on your own company data, right? It also helped unlock a lot of manpower. But the problem that happens is, right, the part where it broke after the demo when we had to fix it, we had to be very, very cautious about giving right access to the DB for these agents because there were production data. You all heard stories where AI has suddenly deleted the entire company's production data, and it was a very common occurrence. If stakeholders were asking questions like, give me all the information about all the SKUs that are available, a huge query returning hundreds and hundreds of lines were coming out. So these were the guardrails that we had to set around it, and also had to ensure that whenever there was an ambiguity, there were stakeholders so curious they come and ask who is the Prime Minister of India on our database. Of course, the bot is not able to answer, right? So in that case, also we were having to have clarifying questions being set up so that the trust or the accuracy was able to be maintained. And those were the kind of guardrails that we had set around it. So what the three kind of failures or three kind of agents that we just talked about summarized here is that we should be treating the prompts as a policy because we just think that whatever we write, is going to be understood in the way that it is in our heads. But it's generally not the case. Everybody has to structurally define what the role is, what the context is, and you don't have to do it every time, right? If you feed it in the memory one time, in the most detailed way, in the way that you are expecting an output, you are able to have much better quality of results, Freshness means we should ensure that wherever we are needing real-time output, we shouldn't be waiting on scale or empty data sets because AI will not flag it for you unless you ask it to flag it for you. So we have to ensure that it's okay that the pipeline breaks, you intervene and fix it, rather than it giving out suggestions which are inaccurate, right? And the third thing is, whatever we build, we need to build a clarification layer on top of it, and also ensure that we do not give a lot of permissions and accesses to AI to take decisions independently. Initially, with workflows, we were able to kind of mitigate that, but agents are quite intelligent and they will sometimes want to act smart as well. So we will have to be a little cautious around that. So it is always like I said, right? People keep chasing the next model, of course. The newer models are great, but for all the basic use cases that we need to use AI today for, can be done with a basic model as well. So rather than chasing models, we need to figure out how we can fix the guardrails around it, how we can ensure our quality of input is better, so that we are able to get the desired output. And we don't need a lot of budget. All the three agents that we talked about, right, might seem like we have solved a huge problem and must be costing a bomb around it. It is not. It is not even each of these projects per month don't even take API costs crossing an internal salary. So it is sustainable if you build it properly. It is not like something which is taking a lot of cost. Probably when you are setting it up, those months people are doing a lot of experiments, but in months it is in production. It is possible for us to be able to control it. And yeah, so I have tried to build all the three agents and keep the prompts that are available to you in this scanner or in the website that I have. If you want, you can feel free to scan it and do the demo of the prompts yourselves. And then any other questions if you have, I would love to answer them for you.
Interactive model, is it using interactive model or is it using that model?
So we are using API calls, so and we basically using cloud to build the existing server because we didn't get the bandwidth of selecting. But here all the backend, all the processing is done through API calls. We had used Gemini. Any other question, guys? Cool. All the best. Love the audience, love them too. I mean, that's a little bit of sarcasm, but please build something with AI. It's a wonderful time to experiment because I don't know how fast everything is changing. It is a pure play time to experiment locally, experiment something that you do at work, experiment with something that you can implement. I made a gym tracker yesterday, right? So that I can figure it out in terms of whatever exercises that I'm doing, are they on point or not, right? So you think beyond what are the current use cases that we do and figure it out. The solutions are very easy to implement today. Okay, thank you guys. Have a good day.
Thanks a lot. So we have a tea break time, but Manu is here, so he's not well. So he said that he will take maybe 20 minutes for his session. He is to leave. Immediately after his session, he will take it.
This is what I expect. Not a purely technical talk. Before we go to that, how many of you have prayed ever? Everyone? Prayed. So I had to the bunch I had was what I had. Is it nothing possible? Promise something like seen that? Yeah? Have you done that before? No. So the thought experiment is that this got me my interaction with the present day tools got me thinking that the way we are interacting with this technology is more or less the way we interact with our concepts of God, religion, and society in general. The couple of lines you got over here will probably be a bit different. What I'm talking about, and we'll go into a few more examples. So, prompts are like prayers, models are the gods, tokens are the blessings that can easily be lost. You gotta wait for this. If your prayers are unanswered, do you ever want to change how you grow or what even more money? The prompts that it say, you see, because how could ever a God be on? Software engineering, which is pretty close to my heart, what is being engineering, is transformed into a superstitious, non-deterministic, religious cult. And I, like many others, am tempted to prosper by going out together. So, what are the similarities? If you start looking at the way the religious structure works, every school of thought has the concept of an all-powerful supreme being. All schools of religious thought will have that as a concept. AGI is the calculator in our ecosystem, and because it's that ultimate source of truth, all expenditure, all exploitations, everything is justified in that area. Because what if you try lakes? What if a few people die in the pursuit of, what if a few communities go without water? What if the price of the electricity goes up for an entire township? Who cares? We find AGI. The models are gated, a lot of them. Sure, we're having a few open source models now, but most of the really powerful models are kept inside guidelines. We came across the most blatant gatekeeping recently, and what's the name? And Facebook. It was a Facebook where nobody who does not belong to a specific country can access it. And somebody forces you to pay for access, others are going to change their citizenship. And there are others who are denying, they're releasing their models of it. Open source concept of that. So you don't need to come to mine the level that I created using models. You can create to these open source models in your own home, the way most of us have at home. The AI consultants, myself included, are the local neighborhood power or money, whichever school of thought you belong to. Because we claim that we know the divine literature better than you do. You understand it? We can talk to the models better than you can. We can translate what you want to do. And we promise that all your problems will be solved by integrating the God in your world. Then there are people who are hardliners, who zealots, whose belief can't be shaken, cannot be reasoned with. Who basically claim that how opening their hearts and how brains to AI has transformed their existence. You come across these people on social media listing out what is their ritual. You find that one system chal raha hai, 500 agents chal rahe hain, running around building something. Their entire life is transformed just talking about building something. But wherever there is this kind of a belief, fraud and theft is not far away. So we see sort of transformative pursuits like commerce and astrology. There are startups who will find it in that space, even more so than the AI world. That doesn't say that there isn't opposition in this sort of stuff. There is a tale in some cultures of a god who's been punished for something and they've forgotten their power. You know such entity? In order to pray to that entity and seek their favor, you have to remind what their powers were before you ask for what you want. Similarly, we write paragraphs and paragraphs of prompt explaining to our mind, you are a senior engineer, you've done this, you've done that. I have to set that there on the screen. There is opposition. Just the way Derek Abudar spoke up against superstition and brought the first anti-superstition law of India. and he was terrified. There are the likes of Citron and Gerard who are talking about the absurdities that are happening very quickly. But we, as consumers of this technology, have to always keep shelling out more and more money at every order. For a few more orders of the message. Right? Nobody understands how the technology actually works underneath. Sure, we don't know how to build it as a human society, not me personally. But AI, like God, works in mysterious ways. Great. There are any questions? Move on. With our thought process, the religious thought process has evolved over thousands and thousands of years. So we used to get here today, very close to our heart, are very good. With this, what we're seeing is a similar application of suspension of disbelief when we are interacting with these tools. These tools are pushing us to stop thinking. But they've been designed for us to stop thinking. We don't go deeper into, or I should say, most people don't go deeper into things. And whatever is shown on the face value, we just accept it. Just the way a lot of believers would not go on and deeper, asking why something is there in their logistics. Not trying to understand that. There may be a good reason for a particular suggestion or advice to be in a religious text. But most people just accept it at face value without going deeper. And that's the kind of suspension of disbelief we're seeing in the responses we get from chatbot. And that's causing mass psychosis in places. There have been cases of people who believe that they have uncovered some sort of conspiracy and they're going to FBI. Some people believe they discovered something extraordinary in the field of mathematics by talking to ChatGPT, and wasted weeks and weeks just stuck at this and talking to the bot before they realized they had not doing this. But you see, those beliefs. Now, what's happening as a result of suspension of disbelief and curiosity and the drive to know things deeper how they look and believe as consumers of this technology, what's happening is that our ability to understand things is also decreasing because the way our brains work is very similar to the way our muscles work. If I were to be hospitalized for a month, just a month, better than completely. Most of the muscles in my body will stop working. They will disappear. I will forget how to use my muscles. They will have to be taught from step one or two on. When we stop using our brains, how long until we get an ability to think? For how long will we do that? And the example that I highlighted over here is there are gazillion things that need to go exactly right. So many electrons have to be in the exact right spot for a computer to boot up. That it's close to impossible for a human to understand what it is. But imagine a future, decades, if not centuries, we have forgotten how to build and repair these machines. Would the mythology around the mythos of that time be very different from maybe the stories and the folklore we inherited from our religious systems? society could get divided further and further into people who can build, people who are sitting in Anthropic and OpenAI and understand how the machine works, who created that effort, versus consumers who've been plugged, so to speak, into not using their brains. And in some ways, we're already getting there. So there are two possibilities, right? One, the promises that we heard from all the big wigs is that those promises come true. And we don't need to think about it. We really don't need our brains anymore. I don't know what that future will be like, but if that comes true, I don't know how long humanity will exist after that. To quote another great personality, I think, therefore I am. If I can't think, good. The other alternative is that it's all just chance and all it is. That seems extremely unlikely as well. It has something back, and if you have ever worked in that, you know it can't be good. The third alternative is somewhere in the middle. Job, we are not, it's not that extreme. We still need our brain to function in the society. If that future becomes true, then we can't really afford to stop using our brains. We can't afford to delegate our functioning efficiently to us. This was going to be the original of this post. This comes from, I think, all of us will have a chapter on health science textbooks. God has those who have sense. In order for me to get the kind of output I want from these minds, I have to be very, very pedantic and precise about what I want. And as a child, I wondered if I have to help myself, if I have the capability and the agency, brain power, physical ability to help myself, where do you need that? Thank you. Questions?
So indeed, for the session, and with this we are ready for the key break. Right? So please there. So add your details on the next and then we'll have one question. So we have 20 minutes today for everyone.
The event was not all pictures.
अरे वो पता है आपको क्या बस सामने का ज्ञान पे पांच लोग हो जाते हैं you will be found भाई अभी भी लाइव चल रहा है पता नहीं यूट्यूब अभी भी लाइव चल रहा है अच्छा अरे अगर कुछ अननोन बात बोलोगे मुझे एक सवाल मैं लैपटॉप पे मैं पॉडकास्ट डांस रिकॉर्डिंग दो माइक के साथ गराज बैंड पे मैंने दोनों माइक को एक चैनल पे रखा, ठीक है, बट दोनों चैनल से एक माइक से बहुत ज़्यादा आवाज़ आती है। स्नोबॉल है एक वाइट और दिखाओ आपको उसने दोनों रिकॉर्ड करने के लिए तैयार हो गया, मैंने वर्ड बना के कर दिया, पर हाँ एक से आवाज़ बहुत पास रखनी हो, ये आपने पॉइंट अच्छा, पास रखने से प्रॉब्लम होती है। ये नहीं वायरलेस नहीं है, एक्चुअली वायर लगता है, दोनों का वायर लगता है, कनेक्ट होता है लैपटॉप पे, बट आप सही पॉइंट रखते हो कि दोनों पास। थैंक यू। और इतना लेट होना क्या सीखोगे? ऐसे दो ही लोगों से थैंक यू। मेरा नाम शाइनी है, तो मैम कहने मत बुलाओ, आप परिचय क्या नाम है आपका? सुखदेव बढ़िया काम कर रहे हो, आपको तो सिस्टम देके क्योंकि मैं भी कैमरा लेके खेलते रहती हूँ, पैसे लेने के लिए।
स्टार्ट करेंगे Okay, we are going to start the last session of the day. Right? So, if you go by the schedule, so we were supposed to close by 1. Right? I think we are doing good on it. And then after the session, we had some food arrangement for lunch or the snacks, whatever you call it. But I don't know. We may have to wait for 10-15 minutes for it. But the original time was 1 people. So, with this, I will hand it over to you. So, if you look at most of the speakers, I know them for the last maybe 5, 7, 10 years. Right? So, we will take it over, especially for these events only. Right? We didn't go for so,
I hope you are not seeing now in activities. Okay, quick introduction from my side. My
My name is Neha. I am working as a program management director in the Qubits design system. Qubits is a semiconductor software company which builds software for all the chip designing companies, like Apple, Qualcomm, Google, whatever. Whoever build chips use our software. So I joined Qubits 7 years back. This is my 7th company. I am in my 7th year. So 7 is a lucky year for me. So before this, I was into product management. Before that, I was into R&D. So kind of I have worn all the hats, and I know the pain points of all the areas in which, whether it's R&D, whether it's management, whether it's product development. So I'm sharing my experiences today. I hope that will help some of you. So how AI will change the management game? Everybody knows that you can use cloud code, you can do code, but how managers can use AI and do better management? This is my topic. Management in the AI and code program. So earlier, how we used to make decisions? We used to say, should we do A, should we do B, then we used to brainstorm for 2 weeks, we used to see some proposals. Then after 2 weeks, we used to say, okay, let's go to B. Okay? And then we used to play out that movie balls because we don't want to spend more time on it. So this worked in a world where there were very limited opportunities, the world was moving very slow. But not now. Now how decisions work now with AI. So AI, you can give you problems, AI will give you 10, 12 options with some trade-offs, and will give you some kind of solution that part 3 has 73% success rate, and also a backup option in this phase. And also it adjusts real time based on the data. So the things are becoming more from binary, which is yes or no, to infinite possibilities. Now you have much more possibilities which you can explore in terms of your decisions. Now, how I work, just a little bit of introduction. I work with a lot of R&D teams, and every R&D team has a manager. We have 7-8 managers, huge team. We have 150 engineers. And we work on different projects, we cater to different customer requirements. So we have to align multiple product releases with several global teams. This was the problem. And I used to send status reports based on some automation, some scripts. And I used to sometimes open some tickets to see their states if it is not visible. So what is the AI way right now? So I describe what I need. Basically I use VS Code with underlying plot. So I give my link of the tracker which I am tracking. It has maybe like 1,000 tickets. So I tell Claude that you have to open each ticket, get the status. If there is any mention of any dependency, any ticket is dependent on some other ticket, just flag it. And this is possible now with AI. It was not possible earlier. I cannot open 1,000 tickets and get status and manage dependency if it is not implicitly told to me earlier, but now I can. Also, there are different metrics that people are tracking now, especially at management level. Earlier, we used to ask for estimates, engineer used to give some estimates, but now because we are committing to customer a certain date, we have SLAs. Anybody knows what is SLA? Yeah, so the maximum number of days you will take to fix the issue. So now how management is tracking that whether our P0 issues are closed within 14 days, because that's what we want as in terms of predictability, whether we will be delivered to customers. So earlier what used to happen is we used to have like, especially in our domain, we used to have like yearly release. All customers used to use those releases, but not now. Now, because semiconductor, you all know, it is booming like anything. Everybody is making their own chips. Everybody has their own workflows. So they need different requirements. So how management now commits is, we give a date to customer that whatever your requirement is, we are going to do it by this date. So now it all goes backwards. We start with the end date, and then we have to track all ETAs by these 1,000 tickets, by engineers, by managers. So management is not simple like it was earlier. So how AI looks for me right now, that if I have 150 items across 5 teams, I want to know which items are stuck more than 14 days. I just want to know those items. If everything is working fine, I need not to pay attention on those items. I'm only bothered about what is holding people, what their work is stuck. If I can flag it at the right time so that we can do some maybe additional people, skill improvement, something like that. But we don't want work to suffer. And we don't want any surprises at the end that something is not done. And you know who goes in front of customer? It is your management. So now what I do is I create dashboards. I will say read all the items, fetch status and dates, filter for greater than 14 days, group by managers, generate a live dashboard, and show me the fixed percentage also. So this is how I work now. And also I want my dashboard to refresh because things are moving, tickets are closing as we are doing more work. And also make the dashboard refresh every day at a certain time. All this can be automated by just one line in VS Code and Cloud. And also, what happened, this is a real case, what happened, I created a very fancy dashboard, everybody liked it, and the next day it goes blank. And people just message me that this is not working, that is not working. So don't assume that AI will work 100% of the times. You have to iterate, you have to see. What I have done now is that I have given it a very clear instruction that don't show any zeros. If you can't find any data, just show previous data and send me an email that you can't refresh it. So now what Claude does is it sends me an automated email that the refresh failed, and I go back and fix it. So Claude is, and AI especially, it is not like the God or some superpower which is being mentioned. I feel it is like an intern which you handhold and train for some time, and once you get the trust, you just leave it and move to a different problem. But you have to handhold. You can't assume that you have made one skill and it will work seamlessly. The same thing which is working now can also fail because there are a lot of variables involved. So this happened with me. The script crashed, dashboard went blank, managers now see empty pages, and then I asked AI if I fixed, and he said I failed to refresh. I could not find some credential which I saved in my environment variables. So then I put some checks. Now the system self-protects. It doesn't show blank information. That is the
so now the system self-protects. AI doesn't do just the task, it helps you and also tells you what can go wrong. It doesn't have any bias, it doesn't assume anything. So you have to put your checks very carefully. Don't assume that it will work 100% of the time. And if it works, just keep a check for so AI skill which every manager needs in this stage is that
break problems into steps. You have to be very, very careful what you want. Give exact steps. You cannot be like very vague or assume that you will understand. It is just like an intern who joined your company, doesn't know anything about the domain, doesn't know anything about the problem, doesn't even know what role you are doing, what is your requirement, so you have to train it. So first get the data filter, so something like that. Break down every step, break it to a step which you cannot break it further, I would say. Then verify the AI work, always check does it make sense, and then iterate quickly. When everything works fine, identify what you can automate. If it is working fine, just put the cron and just forget about it. And then you save it, and then you move to a separate problem. If there is a background, then ask that skill to use the knowledge of that previously, which you call agent talking to other agent. So it will get better over time once you write like 5-6 skills. So now AI understands me more than I understand myself. I tell it. So in some conference, if I have to send a summary about my work, I just ask Claude, and it tells me. Now, this was about AI. Now, how quantum computing will change the game, and we have to be ready for that. I think in the first session we got to know that it is coming. So AI, I know a lot of us rejected that it is a facade, it is just an automation. People are just needing a hype to get the funding and all that. I was one of them. I just ignored it for some time at least. But AI is there. It is going to stay, and AI also will become, I think, less beneficial once quantum will be there. So it is important that we start learning about quantum, start thinking how quantum will change our work. So, like normal computer, we have seen the position, it tries one path at a time. Like you are solving a maze one by one, you are trying one combination, then you are trying the second one. But in quantum computer, it tries all paths at once. It is like you have made million copies of yourself and everybody is trying one solution, and ultimately you will find one solution which is mathematically also correct, because it will also do a lot of computing. So why managers care? Because some problems like scheduling resources, logistic, resource planning, they have millions of answers, they have millions of possibilities. So the quantum will also help managers. How will you use quantum? So quantum, this is my assumption, it will not be very complex. It will use whatever we are learning in AI and will build on top of that. So in quantum also you will say something like in plain simple language, I have 40 engineers, I have 15 projects, this is their skill, this is their personal time off, that is the leaves that they are going to take, how can I build my schedule around it? And these are different prompts which when quantum will be there, I can give, and it will give me exactly the plan that I would want, and it will be 100% accurate. So this is what quantum can do for management. So the interface will feel exactly like AI, like we do in plain English. You will get an answer. The only difference is the answers will be correct. AI can give you a lot of false things based on their previous learnings and based on the other prompts that you have given, but not quantum. So there are some smarter testing things that you can do with quantum. So this is some of the cases that we are doing right now. So we have our product has a lot of regressions. It is like 1,000 and 1,000 regression. So when an engineer does any checking, they have to run thousands of regression. So imagine when a checking going into a field takes how much time? It is taking too much time because we have to run so many thousands of regressions. Now every code change triggers a full run. Engineers wait, releases slip. Manually you have to, if you want to skip this step, you have to manually identify which regressions you want to run, and you can be wrong, and then there will be bugs. Now AI, what AI can do is, AI can analyze, and they can say, but with 90% of the probability that you can skip these regressions, this is not something related to the code changes that you are doing, then you use AI and do that. But it catches 50% of the bugs, it is efficient. I'm not saying it is not, but there are still chances that it will miss some bugs. What quantum will do? Quantum will evaluate all possible test combinations simultaneously. So your runtime from 6 hours will reduce to 20 minutes, and your bug escape rate will be 0. So this is how quantum can help us in shipping faster, with more confidence, and with less people. And it will help everyone. It will help engineers also. Okay. So it is a very good thing, and we should start learning. And thanks to this session, I also learned more about quantum, and it gave me an insight that I will also keep track on it. Now, when will quantum actually reach software? AI, it came, we ignored, but this is the timeline that this is on the internet, which I could find, that 2024-2026 is AI, which we are already using. 2027 to 2028, quantum powers will be embedded in all of the tools that you are going to use. It will be in your Jira, your CI/CD pipeline. You won't know it's quantum, but it will use quantum at some scale. And by 2030, quantum will become an invisible infrastructure. You will do all your architecture decisions, resource planning, release sequences. They will be all by quantum. So don't wait for quantum to arrive. Build your skills now. Your AI skills will be used when quantum will come. So people who will build those skills by when the quantum will come, you will benefit a lot. So why AI plus quantum together is a game changer? So AI gives you understanding of your words, you can spot pattern, you can generate new ideas, you can automate flow, and you can learn from your past results. But what quantum adds? Quantum adds all options at once. You can solve impossible mathematical puzzles which you can't solve right now. It can simulate complex systems, it finds your true best answer, and it handles a lot of variables which are there in your system. So together, AI understands the problem, quantum finds the solution, and then AI explains to you in plain English. So AI and quantum will work together, and this is the future. So there are few things people are scared. Like in the previous session, we got very scared with what AI is going to do. AI is a multiplier; it's not a replacement. You don't need to code; you just think clearly and ask the good questions. You start small, iterate fast. First times will not be perfect, and I have learned it with the hard way. It is very frustrating sometimes. You give instruction very clearly, still you do the bad things, and you have to tell. And sometimes I even write thanks, and my son jokes about it that you are saying thanks to an AI because ultimately when it works, we feel happy. So winners won't be smartest, they will be the more curious and adaptable. So the conclusion is stop choosing between A or B and start exploring from A to Z. The future doesn't belong to people who know all the answers. The future belongs to people who know how to ask the right questions. Thank you. Anybody has any questions? Yeah, the cost will go down. I feel so. Because the token cost is high right now because there are limited data centers available. And we are not using tokens in a very optimized way. But eventually I feel, and this is my belief, I may be wrong, but that's what the market says, that the AI usage will get cheaper and cheaper. Like, it's the same as internet. Internet was very expensive when it started. Mobile phone, 16 rupees incoming for I don't know how many, I think our generation remembers. So it will get cheaper. Something like Geo comes in and everybody has access to data, something like that will happen. It will take some time, it will not be very fast. But once everybody knows that this technology is there, it is going to stay, then it will become cheaper.
What about quantum field? So, how much money we should invest for
I don't have that information because I don't have access to quantum right now. This is kind of a futuristic thing. Maybe this question was relevant for the first session.
You answer it, so you don't need any money. So what India is doing, they have a lot of money, but the maybe since how you grow, you just need an idea and you should convince the investor or the government, and they are ready to fund you.
What will be the correct product?
or in general?
Accepted.
It's a general basically what I want to do, my purpose is to build and do it, right? So we are talking about something. So I was just thinking that what USP I can get for the
There is a National Quantum Institute or National Quantum Mission. So you can connect with brightest. So he is part of it. He is doing all this stuff. So you don't need any money. But money we can invite a comment. I think we can idea. We need more of an evidence that it is right. And this is not only for quantum, even for the AI related work. So AWS and other tools, they are funding all these new areas. Right? So if you have something, right, which you want to build, you just need code that you want. Right? You should have like, hey, I can do it. That's not the funding and the other stuff will get done.
Any other questions?
And I don't think as of now people need money as such, but money for
I think there are instructions which are being shared by companies. At least my company is organizing. So every company is training their employees how to optimize their tools. And in terms of like how you prompt and engineering tools also are getting. See, it is not something like general strategies. Every domain and every team will have different strategies. Like for our domain, we are very niche domains. So whatever works outside the industry will work for us. Say if you are using like you are in app, so then you can find ample information and guidelines in the market also. But yes, token usage, you have to be very careful, but consider you take promise. We have all of this.
there are some big strategy as well as there are some, I would say, low level practices also. Which you can find even on Instagram. For example, I have something says that if you are using getting wrong and you have given it wrong and you may not get the right user. If you want to correct it in the right way, you know, that is one option. But if you go back and get the existing wrong, that will improve best. Right. If you go to the old one and take it, then it's less than as compared to like
And some companies are giving multiple AI tools. Like for some simple work, you can use this. For more complex things, you can use your. There are some clear instructions which are given to me. Initially, I thought people were using law for training and it is not the right way. Not use such a powerful training, just use co-pilot. And you also do the same job and it's free. I think some of the models are free. So I think it depends what you want from it. If you want like app development or website development, then use Claude and stronger underlying users. But if you are using the basic things,
Seeding with non-one file, your plan has a non-one file and then a checkbox that you know if this is done, check this and do that again.
I think that is actually help us that is better. And while we are working on our context that we can let us know that to use these models over this. Any plugins that we can add to our day-to-day browser usage, where we can be more aware of what we are doing towards context engineering, and that can help us optimizing our token usage.
I think it depends again. Your
company needs to advance.
Are there any plugins that are
I'm
already
not
there?
aware because in my opinion, we are very
But they must be.
yeah, they must be.
There is a problem with
We don't use any open source.
There is a website. The website there is an AI for that. There is an AI for that. So check out that website and you will find a lot of this. If your policy will give you an okay? So we are done, but we are waiting for this economy, right? So what we can take a picture, right? And then we can so everyone yes. Everyone is you already something different than using AI. Right?
Basically, our book, we have a and the idea behind that is reducing e-commerce as well as making sure that things are private. So let's say you have a company and you want to make sure that you get private people and you share it the database that you have recording not sure or you do their data. You can use different language models together and have a review system where you can see the data. Let's say Java is by Google, or let's say that's also useful. That's also useful. But then there are and then you have something so it is multiple check and compare with some those and if you do that locally, the part about it is you're not sharing any data with Microsoft, Google, you have data. So that could be a very interesting note. Although this is just a master's which research is not a part of it. But I can share the QR code.
And anyone has used this word Microsoft Google Java code.
Java has multiple codes. And that's to give an this is a very small one. So it's not very large code.
You can run on the laptop.
You can run on the laptop. On your phone?
On your phone. Right. AI
Apart from that, validation and replacement are very important.
Anyone has heard of something called an SDE? Is a new job coming up?
Yeah,
What it is?
basically, I gave a little bit of
Okay.
So, basically, they have the expectation of being like how they are getting, how they are getting expectations from others. So, he trying to know the problem. So, it's that. So, maybe apart from the
End-to-end ownership and salary is how you want to right, and there are very few big all the years long we are right and we probably AI and Google is also writing we need GCC now also.
I can explain a little bit of how it currently works. I'll try my best. So, like, for the for that cat. So you consider that cat, there's a scale over there. It's like the scale is height. And this is particularly cat. So small cats is very large cat. And also one dimension. The other one will be dog. The other one will be more animals. This will become a sort of database of all the animals. Then the flow around will be all the fruits. And then we try to ask the animal generative ways between fruits and animals. Then we get the brain dot you guys have. Chimpanzee variety is an example. That's doesn't exist in the world. That's an definition. But in this space, there is a space between a chimpanzee and a banana.
Just about the space part. So Venkat was talking about a non-binary like qubit. So qubit is not just 0 and 1. So it can I don't know what you are exact now it can have any.
I think Qubit understanding like if it was quantified. So in binary, it will tell dates and it will say it will do a point. But in Qubit, when you flip a coin, there can be like multiple stages at any point. So Qubit is like there can be like 8, 10 possibilities. So Qubit is possible.
Not possible.
It is about the possibility to be 0 and 1. So it could be not exactly 0
Could be anything.
It can also be a combination of something.
And that's the Agentic AI. So, the last one is it's got a bottom. It is probably. And that's what it's called.
The equation of AI it is a very computing and rich quantum. AI can do a lot of things, but compute is a very expensive in terms of environment, in terms of data center.
Or the other way is they are set up that on the you can see structure of like so he is probably a lot on the
if there are any of AI agents, this is the how are you going to just realize if so, what is the
as of now, no one knows. Everyone is still exploring. Right? We have just started. Actually, we have not seen it's not the tip of the iceberg. There is a lot which we have not seen. We are going to explore. Right? And especially for India, there may be there is a lot of dissonance. Right? We are hearing about it a lot, but I don't know how we, and again, the thing is that means everything is going to be, but the current state of working will not be.
But AI and quantum will push us is to do better work in terms of it and not the repetitive work. Because I remember when joined the industry around 25 years, so automation is such a big thing that everybody should learn automation, do automation, and anybody who knows scripting will make a good shot. But now, in this context, it will not be possible. So anybody who can just think a new thing, not the repetitive thing, so you have to push yourself to think new. Anybody which is doing what AI can do or AI can just automate, it will not happen. So that is the push that we will create.
Most of the skills now have become more than commodity.
And by the way, I got these slides from God. All of these slides were, it was like a 1 hour effort. I did like something to make that. But it is completely not. I thought it was
No, it's actually that's what I'm seeing. There are some speakers also not to listen to the they said that they needed to say, it's okay, nothing wrong with it. Right? But it doesn't mean that if anything is wrong in the slide, then the God is accountable. See? So that's the only thing you need. And coming back to the AI part. So for those who are looking for and especially for so if you're looking for a cheap job, that is one. Here, if you have done engineering, you know in C++, like some part of data structure, and you want to be Python, you are good. Like this. Not only even next week, we have to
back to the
the best market, right? The best in the market. That's what we are doing.
The Infosys is doing a lot of modeling, the outsource services they used to do. Now they are changing everything. That they are now going to become AI. The work will increase. Even we will see everybody is making chips now. Earlier there was hardly those like companies used to make chips. Now OpenAI also wants to make their own chips. So the work and the more chips will be there, the more gadgets, the more apps, the more will explode. So even the AI.
So if anyone is doing on the aging side of it or AI governance part of it, that those jobs are also very big. AI in that you jobs will come, but requires skills. So we still have 10 minutes. Food is on the way. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot to all of you. I hope it was all good. स्क्रीन यही कब तक